many people in America fear their government, and the government is being run by too many powerful agencies like the IRS and others. I think it's time the people take the country back through their representative government.
Hey, Mr. Politician, living on that hill, living in that life of luxury on We the People's Bill. Don't have a clue how the other half lives, and that is a shame. It's time to stop the tyranny. You keep pushing through your bills. Going for revolution, going for it now. It's time to save our Constitution while we still got the guns in our hands.
We're going to be talking today about art. We're going to have all kinds of really incredibly creative and fascinating things that have happened here in the community with the Community Garage Arts. Before, however, I have a couple announcements for you that I'd like to make, and then we're going to be seeing Jean Ward with Surviving and Thriving. One of the things that's coming up in the election is an opportunity for people to really participate in what's going on, and that's called poll watching. And this year in particular is extremely important for people to get active and be part of the poll watching system, because there are 160,000 people that have been registered just in this year alone. And those 160,000 people, the vast majority of them, none of their IDs have been checked, so we really don't even know if they're fogging mirrors. We just know that their names on the voter roll now. And they get provisional ballots. If those provisional ballots somehow are missed and get shuffled in with the rest of the ballots, which is quite easy because the only thing that makes them any different than the regular ballots is the fact they come in a colored envelope. So if they get shuffled in with the regular ballots, then those people will never have their ID checked, and we'll never know whether they're legitimate voters or not. So there's an opportunity for you to poll watch. If you'd like to call Janice, we have a CG to come up on the screen, and you can call her and give her your name and the time that you would like to come in and poll watch. If you can only do it just a couple hours, everything helps, because the more we watch, the less things kind of go astray. So that's the opportunity to poll watch. Two other things I'd like to talk about are two measures that are going to be on the ballot this coming November. One of them is Measure 65. And it supposedly gives independents the ability to choose and have their say in who are the candidates. Well, in actuality, it doesn't do that at all. It eliminates your choices in very short order. It basically will cripple and disable all of the third parties in Oregon, because what they're not telling you is that one of the requisites for being a third party is that you must appear on the general ballot. Well, if you're not one of the two big vote getters, you're not going to appear there, and the third parties will go away. Frankly, I like choice, and I'd like to keep it just the way it is. The other one is 2694. Please look into this one, because it is a clearinghouse to fund agencies dealing with children. Some of the agencies are not, shall we say, for the children, therefore indoctrinating the children. So do look into those two measures. Now we're going to go to Surviving and Thriving with Jean Ward. And this week we're going to be talking about transpiration. It's kind of an interesting subject. So Jean Ward and Surviving and Thriving.
Why clear plastic garbage sacks? Why not brown or green, the color that most traditional garbage sacks come in? Well, there's a real good reason for that. In addition to making good emergency shelters with this plastic, you can also make water. Many of you have heard that you can make a solar still using plastic garbage sacks like these, and that's correct. And I have been doing that for about 30 years. But it's been my experience that the amount of effort that goes into making a solar still, in other words, you're going to have to dig a hole that's about 3 foot in diameter, about 2 foot in depth. You're going to have to collect a large amount of vegetation to line those holes, put a container down at the bottom of that hole, cover it with plastic, put a rock in the middle of it, get yourself a long drinking tube that's going to connect to the container that you're going to be collecting that water with. And with all this effort, you're going to get about a half a cup of water a day. The problem with that whole equation is, unfortunately, that you probably sweated off a quart to a gallon of water constructing that solar still. There is, however, a much better way to utilize this plastic for making water. This is a transpiration bag. We put it up here about an hour ago over the limb of this deciduous tree. Already it's produced more than what a solar still would in a full day's production. We'll probably get 3 or 4 times as much as this at the end of the day. There is one other use for this garbage bag that's worth mentioning. If you ever have to transport a hypothermic victim out of the woods and you don't have a space blanket or a space bag, this will make a suitable alternative. Did you know that on a full day's hike, it's not uncommon to lose 1.5 gallons of water a day? But it's not enough just to replace those lost fluids. You're going to have to replace those salts also. If you find that you or a member of your party is unable to keep water down any longer, it is important that you try to get a quart of Gatorade or a similar type product in your system as soon as possible before it becomes life-threatening. Far and away, the biggest source of heat loss that occurs out here radiates from the top of your head. It doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure out the solution to this problem. Take a hat with you and wear it. A simple bandana has a multitude of uses to a survivor. As a hat, it insulates as well as prevents sunburn. As a mask, it keeps out the dust and smoke. As a sweatband, or by tying it around my ankle, I can use it to collect early morning dew. And I can improvise a carrying basket by simply tying an overhand knot at each of the 4 corners. Over the past several years, many organizations have come out with what they call the 10 essentials. Included in their list is a small flashlight like the one that I have in my hand. For those of you who have included this in your survival kit, my suggestion to you is get rid of it. Replace it with one of the LED lights that has just come out in the past year or so. These tiny little lights are just as bright and will burn several times longer. When you get one, there are several types that are on the market right now. There's the kind that will be activated by squeezing it together, like so, which this one does also, or there's the kind that have the on and off switch. Make sure you get the type that has the on and off switch. It'll last you up to 40 hours, and that's substantial.
Hi, welcome back to Freedom TV. I'm Renee Kimball, and today my guest is Emily Wisteria, and we're going to be talking about community garage arts.
Thanks for having me here, Renee.
I'm really glad you could come because I heard about this a couple weeks ago, and I was fascinated by this. It seems to be, my impression anyway, is it's a garage where all kinds of crazy things happen.
Yes.
And it sounds wonderful.
Yes.
Tell me, how did this all start, the idea of having a garage to do all these fascinating things in?
Well, we, for several years, have had a garage that's just been piling up with stuff and a dream of creating a studio space where people can come together and share skills and learn from one another, inspire one another, and collaborate creatively together. And only this year have we actually been able to make that a reality through the efforts of over 150 volunteers.
Really? That's incredible.
a lot of hard work and hard play and all kinds of things have gone into it. And it's been really beautiful to see how it's taken off.
Right. So you actually, this is the first year that it's actually kind of been in production?
Yes.
Oh, excellent.
We had our grand opening in August on 8/8/8.
8/8/8.
And I think that it was an auspicious date to start something that really has such long-term effects and so much potential to bring people of all walks of life together. And previous to the opening party, we had a lot of work and a lot of skill sharing and classes and collaboration happening through our building process. We used natural building techniques to renovate the space and insulate the walls.
Excellent.
We collaborated with City Repair, a local Portland organization that does a yearly natural building conference in May.
Right.
So this is a free event where different community projects happen, and the Community Arts Garage was one of those projects.
Excellent.
So we opened our doors for 10 days and had basically free natural building classes and hands-on work parties where people were able to come and play with mud and mix up mud and straw and create a space that is just beautiful and really serves our needs.
Excellent. Well, I know we've got a few pictures that I'd like to share, and it does describe some of the things that you were talking about. So if we can go to our first picture, this is
This is one of the work party days during the Village Building Convergence, and as you see, we had a full house.
Literally.
A lot of people just stopping by to learn some of the basics about natural building. We used a technique called light straw clay, which is basically just straw that's lightly coated in clay slip, which was actually just a local soil. We have clay soils here in the area, and we were able to fully insulate the walls with this light straw clay mixture.
I think we have some of those coming up, actually. So let's go to the next one, and we'll see where... Okay, here we are.
So this is a process,
Hands in mud.
Yeah, of screening out the rocks from the dirt that we used. And it's really fun work. Everyone who was involved was able to just jump right in, no matter what their level of experience was.
I don't know anyone who doesn't like playing in the mud. It's fun.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So this is the straw part.
This is the straw, building it into the walls. Very festive. We had dress-up days and live music and, you know, children as well as grandparents and everyone in between.
And the next one, I think, is the actual putting on... What happened to our...
This is one of our open studios. We have at least once a week, often twice a week, open studios where we open up the garage door and we invite people to just come in. And right now we're focusing on pottery. So we have a pottery wheel and a kiln, and we offer clay and some instruction to people. And it's just really fun to see what people come up with. And often people show up thinking they'll be learning from some expert, and what actually ends up happening is they share their own knowledge, and they become a sort of an expert. So this is another open studio type craft making class that we had. And you'll see in the back, there's a mural that was done through creative collaboration during the VBC, and it's also using natural materials and natural pigments. So that was really great process and adds a lot to the space.
This is the kiln and some projects on the wall?
This is, during our grand opening, we had an art show that was curated by Scrap, the school community reuse action project, which we're very close to and collaborate with a lot. So they had a variety of artists submit pieces that were reusing materials. And most of the building materials that we did end up using were also reused. And this is another part of that same art show.
And these are actually fashions, wearable things, wearable art.
Yes, wearable art out of all reused materials.
Excellent. Oh, some entertaining little outfits there. And
this is another picture from our grand opening celebration. This is the tea horse that City Repair brings out to different events, and it's a mobile tea lounge, and it's free to anybody and really creates a lot of a good sense of community.
Yeah, I've seen the tea horse around town and participated in some of the things they do, and they throw out all the cushions and you just kind of lounge about. Ah, and juggling, my personal favorite. This is great. We
had a circus skills class where all kinds of people came with their toys, and we played, we learned how to juggle. We have a lot of neighborhood kids who love to come and see what we're up to and learn some of the things that we're sharing. So that was really great.
Oh, there's some real jugglers.
Some more from the circus skills.
Excellent. And I think we've got a couple more.
Yeah, this is from our grand opening celebration as well. Just really fun. We had probably about 200 people come out. We had 5 live bands, lots of free food, the art show, as I mentioned, the tea horse. It was a really great way to bring the community together. A lot of people just stopped by, and that was the first time they heard of what we were doing.
Excellent. Wow, those are excellent little samples of what the Community Garage. I keep wanting to say Arts Garage.
It is the Arts Garage.
Yeah, okay.
The Community Arts Garage. And we've sort of looked at the name as an evolving concept, and sort of the difference of art versus craft, and how so many people perceive art as sort of an elitist activity, and maybe don't include themselves in something that is called art. You know, many people don't identify as artists and feel that that's sort of something that they can't attain. And so the reason we chose community arts is because we're really focusing on building community and building a sense of possibility and empowerment through art. Because life is art, and everything we do is art. And we don't restrict our classes to arts and crafts subject areas.
So you do all kinds of different types of things.
All kinds of things.
What are some of the other things that you do besides?
Well, we have a singing group that's happening. I guess that is sort of a type of art. But we have a lot of different discussion groups that happen as well. Right now we have a group that meets on Sundays that is an alternative to AA, and is a support group for people who want to live a sober life. We have gender identity discussion groups, and all kinds of things. So it's really open for people to step up and say, this is something I want to learn, or this is some skill or subject area I have some expertise in.
And so you do rely on people contacting you and saying, hey, I've got this I can do, and I can share, and I can show people how to do. So that's an opportunity for people to share what they can do. That's interesting.
Yes, and it's an open invitation. If people are interested in teaching a group or teaching a class or holding a discussion group and sharing some knowledge, or perhaps you have a subject area that you want to learn more about, hold a group, and you know, collaboratively we will learn.
Excellent.
And there are enough resources out there. You know.
So what was the reasoning behind all the people getting together? What were they feeling that they needed to have that wasn't already supplied out there by what's going on now?
Well, I think a sense of community and a sense of empowerment through creative collaboration. You know, I think a lot of education, and especially arts education this day and age, is really elitist and really maybe expensive, or people don't have enough time to put towards, you know, becoming an artist or something. So this is an opportunity for people to stop by and try something.
Exactly. Because I know in Southeast Asia, I've got a lot of friends who have traveled to Southeast Asia and lived over there. And the concept of art over there is entirely different than here. It's like art is like a part of everyone's life, and no one thinks of artists as being different than anybody else. Whereas here, it's sort of like a special class apart. Oh, they're artists. They, you know, they do art. I can't do art, but they do art.
Right.
So here, what you're doing is very similar to what's happening in Southeast Asia, is this concept of everybody's an artist and everybody can create art.
Oh, that's so great to hear that that's such a part of the culture.
In the culture, it's like everything, it's like art is a part of everyday life. It's like when whatever you do in like Thailand, it's you put some kind of art thing into it. There's an art component in just about everything that they create or do or bring together. So it's interesting that that is now happening here. And it's interesting that you would be doing this separate from what's going on here in the city, because there's the Parks and Recreation Department, and there's all kinds of things happening in the schools, and there are organized, funded groups doing art and doing workshops and things like this. But this, what interests me is that it sprang from people, and they are the ones who support it, and they're the ones who keep it going, and they're the ones who make it all happen, rather than, oh, I've got a great idea, I'm going to apply for a grant to the city, and the city's going to give me money, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do with it. So it's very organic in that this grew from what the people wanted and what you created. What's the most important thing about it for you? What's the thing that you get that really excites you about the whole idea?
I would have to say that sense of empowerment that I witness in people who maybe have never thought of themselves as teachers, never thought of their knowledge as valuable, and yet they are suddenly in this space where they have knowledge that they can share, and they're valued for that. And there's an opportunity for people to step up in leadership positions, and share what they know and share what their interests are. And I definitely witness that a lot in the open studios. Like I said, people show up thinking they're going to be learning from some expert, and they become the expert. And
they wind up teaching the class.
That's so beautiful. That's such a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah, that would be an exciting thing to see. I'm going to have to stop by the art garage and have a look at what's going on there. What are some of the activities that do you have anything that you plan that happens on a real regular basis?
Well, we have been having open studios on Tuesday nights from 7 to 9, and on Wednesdays around 12:30 to 4. And what we've been focusing on is pottery. So we've been providing clay and a wheel and lots of inspiration for people to create ceramics.
Now, where does this stuff come from? Does somebody volunteer to bring the stuff in and
the
use
clay?
it? Yeah, well, the clay and the I know we can't talk about prices or anything like that on this show, so but I know that there is some financial thing involved, but we'll talk about that in the second section. But how does this stuff arrive here? Do people donate it, or do you have to hire it to bring it in for the studios?
Well, I personally own a pottery wheel and a kiln, so I provide that, and there are other tools that people have either donated or put on permanent loan. We are looking for another wheel, pottery wheel, if someone has one that's collecting dust and don't have to donate it for good, but we would love to use
on loan
things
would
like
be really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's better for teaching.
We'll put a plug in for you with the website and contact information. As soon as we come back, we're going to take a short break right now, and we're going to look at our next week's guest. This is going to be Judith, and Golden is her name, and believe me, the name fits the person. This is a lady who takes people on tours of Southeast Asia, but they're not your average tours. What she does while she's over there is help to fund and build wells for little communities. She brings them school supplies, and she also helps landmine victims. And the one that we're going to be looking at now is about the landmine victims. So this is Judith Golden and Earth Magic Tours.
Party on, man. ครับช่วงแรกก็จะจัดอัลบั้มชุดใหม่ให้ฟังกันก่อนนะครับ take anymore. Say no more. I can't take anymore. We never learn from the past. In every step we walk from yard to yard. Many people now struggling. You know, walking little everything. I say no more. I can't take anymore. I say no more. I can't take anymore. คิดถึงเพื่อนฉันที่นารายลาปัตตานีป่านฉันนี้ไม่รู้เป็นฉันใดสงสารเด็กน้อยที่นารายลาปัตตานีโรงเรียนไม่มีแล้วใครเล่าแอบเฝ้าไฟเซโนโว I can't take anymore. I say no more. I can't take anymore. Utumo danza yo idu marasamo sacha roda mai. Untu anoka jen idu marasamo da banyak jamara langse. Say no more. Oh, I can't take anymore. I say no more. I can't take anymore. Make love no woman. Come on. We got job to do. Let's make our dream come true. And you and me, we can make it better. So live life in harmony together. I say no more. I can't take anymore. I say no more. I can't take anymore. Untumu danza yo idu marasamo sacha roda mai. Untu anoka jendi du marasamo sayang jamarala. Say no more. I can't take anymore. Say no more. I can't take anymore. คิดถึงเพื่อนฉันที่นารายลาปัตตานีป่านฉันนี้ไม่รู้เป็นฉันใดสงสารเด็กน้อยที่นารายลาปัตตานีโรงเรียนไม่มีแล้วใครเล่าแอบเฝ้าไฟไอเซโนโว I can't take anymore. I say no more. I can't take anymore. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I can't take anymore.
Hi, that was Judith Golden and Earth Magic Tours, and the music that you were hearing is actually a band that's composed entirely of people who are landmine victims. So that's next week, Judith Golden and Earth Magic Tours, and this week, yay, we have Emily Wisteria and Community Arts Garage. Now, Emily, we were talking a little bit about the symbology behind this being a garage, which is kind of cool. I mean, it's not a building and it's not a special place and it's not a house, it's a garage. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the house and the land that we're situated on is one of these snout houses, ranch-style homes where the garage is right in front. And, you know, that kind of architecture is really car-centric, really, you know, focused on a society where people drive to work and pull their car right into their garage, don't say hi to their neighbors, go right inside their house, and feel very separate. And so this act of transforming something like that into a space, a creative, community-run space, is really powerful. And it also has it has a sense of, you know, we've all got a garage. What does it have in it? What is it fostering? You know, are you parking your car in there and having oil drip on the ground? Are you filling it up with stuff that you don't need? Or are you creating a space, a usable space for education, for community, for fun, for creativity? You know, so I think this is something that I would like to see in all neighborhoods. You know, somebody taking a space that is underused and realizing that with some sweat and some laughter and some hard work, it can be transformed into something that's really beautiful and lasting in the community.
Now, are there a number of people who like take responsibility as far as being the point person on specific days, or is it all up to you? You're run off your feet.
Well, we have a council that right now consists of about 5 people, and we meet regularly to work on different events and event planning and things like that, and defining the mission and the structure and all that kind of stuff. And then there are people who volunteer to host open studios. So we have a couple of volunteers who come by every week and run an open studio. We have people who commit to hosting a class, whether it's monthly or weekly or bi-monthly. So there are people who are definitely invested in terms of their time and their energy and their passion, and that's really what keeps the space running. Right.
So there are a lot of people involved in this, not just a couple.
Yes.
They just decide, oh, this is a good idea. Why don't we do this?
Right. And there's, you know, a whole huge community. There's a lot of neighbors in the immediate vicinity, but then a lot of support citywide and beyond.
Right. So do you have people coming from various other neighborhoods? How far away do some people come?
We had a couple people coming from Tigard to some open studios, and that was really great. And hopefully we'll have more people who find it necessary or worthy to travel and come to where we are, and hopefully that will change as more people start converting their garages into usable space. But it's definitely open to all types of people and all people who are looking for a place where they can really plug in and get involved and create their own vision.
Right. What about kids? Is it kind of set up for kids, or are they kind of do they have certain days, or can they participate in whatever's going on also?
Generally, it's totally open to kids, and we do have a lot of neighborhood kids that come by on a regular basis to see what we're up to. We have offered a couple classes specifically for homeschool kids and other kids who are in smaller schools or doing unschooling and things like that. But yeah, generally it's open for kids. Some of the discussion type groups might not be as fun for them.
It's like boring.
But it's an open door policy.
So they can come and sit and is it politically kind of across the board, or just whoever shows up or whoever volunteers to hold the class, or?
Yes, we're very open to people from all different perspectives and walks of life. So there are a certain number of fundamental ideas or tenets that we try to instill into all of our groups. Everything that happens there is a respect for diverse perspectives, a respect for what people have to say, and that there isn't one truth or one right way, and that if we can all really sit and hear each other, that we can come to some, you know, maybe different perspectives, or at least an awareness of different perspectives.
And
so we haven't had to we've chosen not to limit any of the subject areas and discussion type groups and make any rules about what can and can't happen there. And it's been a very organic process, and all the things that have happened have been really positive and really creative and really fun.
And how's it changed from your original idea? I'm sure you had like an idea in the very beginning of what you wanted this to be. And then how has it changed from that?
Well, when I personally looked at what equipment and expertise or skills that I brought to it, I was thinking pottery and fabric arts and silversmithing. So very craft focused, because that's some of my personal interests and skills. And through collaborating with so many different people, it's really broadened. So that idea of limiting it to a creative or artistic focus has changed, and that's great. You know, I like what you were mentioning earlier. I believe that life is art. And that art doesn't have to be segmented into some other category.
Little box over here like, oh, now I'm going to go do art. You know, it's like, what? It's like, so art, it looks like the community arts garage is really life arts.
Yes.
More than just the physical arts of like playing music or drawing and painting and doing these kinds of things. What do you, is this your vision in the future to have things like art garages in every locality all over Portland?
I would love to see that, and it is sort of happening with different focuses. There's a lot of or there's several places that are doing bicycle focused.
Oh, really?
Skillshare centers.
Oh, that's great.
And other types of things like that. So I find that really inspiring to see people saying, okay, this is my area of interest, or this is the tools that we have to offer here. And, you know, we can create these little hubs where people are teaching and sharing knowledge that's really accessible education, hands-on.
So it's like people are taking the idea of the garage arts and turning it into their particular area of expertise. That's really an interesting concept.
Yeah, or maybe it's sort of like the 100th monkey. You know, we're all kind of coming up with this idea at the same time. And I'm finding out, you know, every once in a while, I'm finding out about new places that have very similar missions and visions. And so learning how to collaborate together and build a network of this, you know, throughout Portland and then throughout the world.
Yeah, and the interesting part is that you did this on your own, which is, I find, the most impressive, because there's so many people, I've met so many people in the past who, like I said, have an idea and then immediately go shopping for funding. And it's like, no, that's not kind of how it's supposed to go. You're supposed to have the idea and create the idea, and then supposedly, as the universe is supposed to start, you know, having things happen to where you can continue doing it. And I know a lot of what you do is funded through donations that you actually get through at the workshops and things like that. So they're kind of based in the workshops. Is that correct?
Yes. So far we haven't received any funding or grants or anything like that. And what we've really focused on is the contributions that each person can bring to the table, whether that's teaching a class or offering money or offering supplies. You know, we all have things that we can contribute.
And to be honest with you, it is the perfect libertarian idea, because the people who want to do it are actually doing it, and you're not relying on people who don't want to do it and having to give you money when they don't want to do it, which to me is ideal, because that is truly when you have freedom. Is the people who are there because they want to. The people who are contributing because they want to, and they're not being pressured into doing it. So to me, it's an incredible experiment to see it happening, and so many people in Portland getting so much out of it. I had no idea there were that many people involved in the garage. I went, oh yeah, garage arts, 20 or 25 people, you know, but over 100 people. That's incredible.
Oh yeah, probably 200 people. And I think the idea is that we have the resources. As a community, we have the resources, whether they're financial or knowledge type resources or tools or anything like that. We have it, and when we share it, there's more of it. You know? And
that's what real community is about. It's not something that you can build or zone. It's something that has to be kind of organically come out of who people are and what they have to offer. What kinds of things would you like to see happening? Any ideas of what you would want to have come and visit the community
Well, we
arts garage?
are in the process of shifting focuses from ceramics to fabric arts.
Fabric arts. Now, what do you mean by fabric arts?
Well, it's really open. Right now we have a batik workshop scheduled and a felting workshop scheduled.
Cool.
And I would really like to see more of that. I would love to see a group of people bring some sewing machines by and have an open studio that's sewing focused. You know, as the weather's getting a little chillier, maybe do a knitting group that has some conversation topics. We have quite a few people who are involved who are bilingual and speak Spanish, so we're going to be doing some more Spanish type, you know, comidas, getting together and chatting in Spanish, and yeah, I'm just really open.
Yeah,
so.
It sounds like. Now, was this your idea? Did you come up with this idea, or was it kind of a group effort of
It's definitely
several people?
a group effort. I have been involved with a variety of projects similar to this, of creating community education centers. I this year was involved in a project similar to this in Nicaragua. But my vision is very open and wants to be impacted by other people's vision.
Right.
So we've had a really great collaborative process of seeing how all of our visions overlap and what can come out of that.
So what is your core group of people? There must be a core group of people who kind of took on the big, you know, yeah, we're going to do this.
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, the council is is the core group of people right now.
And how many people are on your council?
5.
5.
Yeah, so some of the people who live in the house, who are my housemates, and then some other people who have been very involved in the whole process since the beginning. And then there's sort of concentric rings of people and organizations who have been involved to different extents.
Right.
We collaborate very closely with City Repair, with Scrap, and with the Portland Free School. And we are actually now the official home of the Portland Free School.
Now, what's the Portland Free School? I've never heard of that.
This is a wonderful organization that up until recently has been sort of online focused, and the idea is that anybody can teach a class. You sign up, you say what kind of class you want to teach, and there's a list of places that can offer teaching space for free.
Really?
So the only thing is that no one can be turned away for lack of funds.
Oh,
and as long as the class is open and available to anybody to come and participate, teach your class.
That's incredible. That's excellent. Well, we're going to take another short break, and when we come back, we're going to give the audience an opportunity to ask Emily some questions. I'm sure you've got a couple of questions out here because this is a new idea. This is a great idea, and I'm really anxious to come over and try it. I'm going to go to the arts garage. Sounds really good. But right now we're going to go to some other art. This is some Divine Performing Arts. This is a group who's going to be coming to the Portland area on January 20th for one performance only. And you'll have an opportunity to see some classic and traditional Chinese performing arts. So with that, we'll have a very short little look at Divine Performing Arts.
Heavenly music, breathtaking dances, enchanting landscapes, and timeless legends.
Was wonderful.
The show was great. Terrific in all ways.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful.
I would like to come back and see it again.
China was once called the land of the divine. In ancient China, every member of society, from emperors to scholars to farmers, tried to live in harmony with the heavens. And in turn, heaven bestowed upon China the gifts of its culture, philosophy, painting, music, and dance. Sadly, since the 1950s, much of this divine culture has been lost under communist rule in mainland China. A revival of these lost traditions has begun. Today, nobody captures that grand essence of Chinese culture like divine performing arts, the world's most celebrated assembly of Chinese dancers, singers, musicians, and performers.
For so many years, the most precious part of Chinese culture, I finally see it tonight.
The dancers, the movement, the arms, the ankles, the wrists, everything was just beautiful. So much movement, so much feeling. I could cry. That's how touching it was.
From a 32-city tour in 2007 to a 66-city tour in 2008, Divine Performing Arts has become a global phenomenon, reaching millions of audiences both live and through TV broadcasts. Its world-class performances have graced some of the world's most prestigious venues, including New York City's Radio City Music Hall, London's Royal Festival Hall, and the Kodak Theater in Los Angeles.
Tonight was one of the most magnificent shows I've ever seen. To see a culture with so much heart, so much spirit, so much grace.
It just struck me as, wow, this is beautiful.
Great effort is put into the show to ensure the authenticity and artistic merit of the programs. Hundreds of dancers, musicians, designers, choreographers, researchers, and production specialists work tirelessly to bring the audience a grand production the world has not seen since the time of the great emperors. Witness the beauty, the artistry, and the grandeur of the human spirit in all its perfection. Divine Performing Arts.
Hi, welcome back to Freedom TV, and today we have Emily Wisteria and Community Arts Garage. Now, if you have any questions for Emily, please, you'll be seeing the phone number in a couple of seconds. Do give us a call and let us know what your questions are. In the meantime, we'll just continue chattering about Community Arts Garage, because I think it's a great idea, and I would love to see this in different communities. Now, one thing I have to ask you is, what about things like liability? Do you guys have to carry insurance and all that good stuff if somebody gets hurt and all that good kind of stuff?
Yes, and we would love some advice from somebody who might know more about the intricacies of legalities and how things need to happen. At this point, it's happening like a private event.
Right.
And so, you know, we're a group of friends that are getting together and working on some projects.
There you go. And frankly, I think that's just fine. The less formal, the better.
Yeah, so we've, you know, talked about different types of structures, from nonprofit to starting a school to all kinds of different things, and, you know, would really love people's input into what they've tried and, you know, what works best in this context.
It's interesting. 100 years ago, this would not even be a consideration, which is really kind of interesting, that we've come in less than 100 years from a place where people took total personal responsibility for whatever was going on in their life to now it's like dot every I, cross every T, and worry about every penny and every single thing that goes on. But with the resurgence of people like you, I'm really glad to see that, because to me it means that it's happening again, you know, as people are getting back to, wait a minute, do we really need all this? and coming up with ideas like this, where you're involving the community. And Do you feel like the community has responded like you would expect them to, or is it more than you expected people to respond to in this short of a period of time from August to now?
Well, I feel like I have a lot of community connections, and the people on the council and other people who are, you know, really involved. We have a lot of resources in terms of community. I would love to be able to reach out to the people that I wouldn't normally cross paths with more. And so that's something that I really could use some more help with, you know, reaching out to further type neighborhoods and things like that.
Great. And I think we do have a call. Did I hear one?
Hello.
Yes. Hi.
Hello.
Do you have a question for Emily?
Well, yes, I do. And the original question I had, Emily already answered, and that was if they collaborated with City Repair. And so that brought up another question. And if Emily has time, I would like to ask if she could elaborate on what type of collaborations with City Repair and how extensive the collaborations are. And Renee, thank you for bringing this to our attention.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for calling. Well, thanks for that question. City Repair is an amazing organization that has really done a lot in Portland to create a sense of community and to create a sense of empowerment within neighborhoods. Right. And in some ways, I have City Repair to thank for our ability to have this space. Like I said, we had the space and we sort of had the vision, but we didn't necessarily have the tools to put it all in motion before this year's Village Building Convergence. Right. So that's this annual natural building conference that happens in May, and it's all free. Everything that happens during the day is free. And as a site, which we were this year, we were able to really utilize people power resources that City Repair did a lot of publicity, and people come from all over to participate in this conference. So we were able to really get the ball rolling and really make this space happen. And I foresee collaborating with City Repair during the Village Building Convergence from now on out. Right. This is an amazing opportunity for neighborhoods to take a vision and make it reality with the assistance of City Repair and all of the amazing resources and donations and people power that they're able to foster.
Right. And so during this building convergence, it's like they have little sites all over the city.
Yes.
And you were one of the sites, and so people were directed, go over here and help them build walls.
Yes. Yes.
Great. Oh, what a great idea.
It's really wonderful. Yeah, they have between 20 and 30 sites every year. It happens the last 10 days of May. If people have an idea that they want to make into reality, it's a really great process of community building and involving a diverse group of people in a plan and in a process of making something happen.
So you said about 20 places.
Yeah, 20 to 30.
My gosh.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And it's a great opportunity to learn natural building. And there's all kinds of free classes that happen and all kinds of things.
And that's what they actually do. They actually get into natural building. Yes. And that's how you got involved in. So how's the installation working out? Or are you going to find out this winter?
It's so great.
Really?
The space feels wonderful. You walk in and it's just very earthy and very quiet. We have a lot of soundproofing in there, just with these light straw clay walls. Right. And you know, we have a little space heater. Turn it on in 15 minutes. The space is toasty and stays that way. So it's really wonderful.
The straw walls actually do provide a lot of insulation. That's incredible.
And it's beautiful.
I can imagine a garage didn't have much insulation before.
Oh, there's nothing. Yeah, it was just empty.
It was just kind of like
stud walls.
Stud walls, and that's it. And great. Now, how big is the space, actually?
It's a typical 2-car garage. So it's, I think, 18 feet by 18 feet. Right. And yeah, we've got lots of windows and some skylights and things like that.
Oh, so you actually had the skylights put in and windows on the side of it. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, did you have any problems with building codes? I know I work a little bit with Recode Portland, and they're kind of going barumph with a lot of the, you know, the things that they want to do are like against the law. So how did that work out as far as?
It's really unfortunate. You know, all these very progressive, very amazing, sustainably focused projects are being, you know, squelched by people who either just don't want to take the time to understand it, or whatever the case may be. But basically, we're adding insulation to the walls.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, I guess that. There you go. And I think I heard the phone ring. Do we have another caller? No? Okay.
Now's your time.
Now's your time. Call in if you've got a question for Emily, because this is great. And I'd like to, you know, I'm sure there's lots of questions other people have that I didn't think of asking. But the one of the things I wanted to ask you about was in the space itself, do you, what happens if you get too many people? What do you have ideas of, like, well, we'll open up an annex?
Well, so far it has been the perfect amount of people.
Really?
Every time. And it's not a very big space.
Yeah.
So we had a movie night last month where we had 25 people watching a movie very comfortably. We had to get kind of close, but
really?
It was cozy and fun. The circus arts class was luckily wonderful weather, so we were able to do that outside. But yes, we do have plans to build a nice roof and an outdoor type sitting area. Big plans, you know, and we could definitely use some help with people if they have design skills or architectural type skills. Those could be put to work.
Well, excellent. I just have to congratulate you for coming up with an incredible idea and following it through and actually doing it, and being self-reliant enough to do it yourself, which I think is incredible. And I really admire that in you and in the Community Arts Garage. So I want to thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for being here. And hopefully we'll have you back and maybe get some footage of the show.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and bring some of that stuff in. And also for you guys, join us on Freedom TV every week. Next week, like I said, we're going to have Judith Golden, and she's going to be telling us about her tours to Southeast Asia, so join us then. And again, remember, it's your voice, and if you don't use it, somebody else will. So take the time, take the energy, and focus in on what you really want, what you really believe, and stop focusing on the problems and focus on the solutions. Bye-bye.
For the pain that it's been through, she's been made to suffer. For the profit of a few, storm clouds are forming. Winds of change now touch our shores. Our hear forefathers are crying as the dream's been cruised. America, I show my love for thee with strength and loyalty. America.